Welcome everybody, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon. And yesterday we were talking about the right livelihood. There's somebody talking something. And I think I forgot to mention some aspect of this right livelihood, which I think is an important part. I was very much or too much focused on how we earn our living and things like that, but forgot the main thing, which is how to live our life. And actually, that would be a major thing, because how we live our life, and so this is to try to understand how to live in a way which is basically good for ourselves now and in the long run, and good for the society, for the environment, for all the people around us. And that is to try to live without too much kind of too much aversion, too much attachment, too much greed, and trying to live nicely without having to kind of be very poorly or very, what can you say, not in the two extremes, in a happily and like kind of it's not that you have to give up all the luxuries and all kind of sense of things that gives you necessary things for your life, but not indulge too much in too much self-gratification or too much how we call it, too much lavishness and things like that, because if you live in a way that is simple and kind of use as much as what you need, but not to become so greedy that you want to, because this is coming from the understanding that our want or our greed has no limit. If we have something, we have enough, we want more and we want more and we want more, and then there is no kind of limit. And if we allow that to happen, then we will be too busy all the time to just get things that what we are supposed to want or need. And in the process, then we can never have any time to do something useful or something helpful or something beneficial for the long run for myself and also for the people around us or for the people of the world. So therefore, to try to understand this and, because one of the main characteristics of human beings is supposed to be, like they said that the main problem of the human beings is telpong. The Tibetan word is telpong. Tel means busy, and pong means poverty. We are too busy. We're always busy and busy and busy. We have no time. And however busy we are still not have enough. So we are, we are kind of poor, From the spiritual point of view, the poverty or richness or, wealthy is not defined by, how many things you have or how much kind of positions or money or things like that you have. Richness is defined by how satisfied you are, how contented you are, how fulfilled you are. And if you are not, satisfied, if you are, always craving or wanting or not having enough, then it is poverty. So therefore, if you have that mentality, then you will never be having enough. And then you have to kind of trying to run after those things that you don't have all the time, all our lives. And even at the time of our death, even if we have lots of things, we don't feel that we have enough. So therefore, this is one of the main things about right livelihood, is to look into how we live and how to create this kind of a situation where we feel, fulfilled, we feel satisfied, we feel contented, and so therefore we are not, always driven to just have more and more and more, but have time to do something that will help us, that will transform us, that will, liberate us, that will bring us more wisdom and, our own transformation, and also that we can help others, and to learn how to do that. So this is an important part of the right livelihood, which I overlooked yesterday. Now today, we'd like to talk about the, is it the sixth of the Eightfold Path, which is the right effort. Now, right effort, it's usually, it's seen like this, that the right view is about wisdom, training on the wisdom. Then next 4, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. These are about, sila, how, as I already said, I don't want to use the word discipline, but it is about discipline. Then next two, usually we say it like this. There are slightly different ways of defining it, but right effort and right mindfulness is the tools of practicing, which is necessary for all, whether it's right view or right thoughts or right actions, or right speech or right meditation, right life, all need these two things, right effort and right mindfulness. So therefore, it's our kind of the tools. So right effort is how to, how to train us, how to work on this right path after we understand, what is the right way. Now there, it's about, you can call it effort, but the effort is not like, too much like driving and, too much like forcing ourselves to do things. This is, usually when we say diligence, or when we say, making efforts or training, then we always think that we should, put kind of force ourselves to do things which somehow we are not doing enough, or we, we have not enough kind of working strong enough or something like that. But from the Buddhist point of view, the right effort is more about motivation, creating the motivation, creating kind of interest, creating enthusiasm, creating the joy, joy of doing the positive things. That's the right efforts. Because it is understood that unless we have that, unless we have, we have developed that kind of true kind of enthusiasm and joy and, some kind of interest, in doing that, then by just pushing, it could, it could go on for some time, but it could not, it could sometimes backfire, like we can get kind of aversion to it, we develop aversion to it. And then once we develop aversion to it, or we get fed up with it, then, it will not go forward. It will, it will be, it will stop, or it will. So therefore, the right way of doing that is to encourage, not just encourage, but through our understanding and through our, experience, maybe both, that this what we are supposed to be doing, when we know that this is good to do, and then clearly seeing what are the benefits of doing this, and what are the opposite or shortcomings of not doing it, seeing it very clearly, then we are, we see that it is something that I have to do it. There's no other way. It's very good. It's wonderful. It's, so when I have that understanding and that clarity, that's why there is also a view in it. A view is very much involved in this. Then, you don't have to push it. You will, you become interested in it and you will do it. And when that kind of interest or that kind of right effort happens, then, it is no longer a kind of a effort. It's no longer effort is needed, no longer pushing is necessary, no longer, it will happen. You will be just happy to do it and joyful to do it. I was always thinking and giving this example of hobby that you have in the West. In Tibet, we didn't have that. We never had that word, hobby. So when I first studying English, my teachers were all foreigners, English or American or not Germans, not Scottish. They were the person who started was very strict in giving us right English accent. So she didn't allow even Scottish to teach us English. But anyway, nobody spoke any other language. There's only English. So, and they also didn't know anything about Tibetan culture, anything. So they were asking me, what's your hobby? And none of us understood what hobby was. And so they tried to explain, what is it that you do and you don't have to do it or something like that. And then, I said, oh, sleeping is my hobby. And they said, no, that's not your hobby. Then what is it? I didn't understand. It took me quite some time, maybe, months to understand what is hobby. And it was a great discovery. It's a great discovery because, the more and more I understood about, I found out about the hobby, the more and more astonished I was, really, because people seem to have two things. One is the job and one is the hobby. And in the job, even it's not so difficult, they get really tired, they get really, overwhelmed, they get really, totally kind of, very, very kind of exhausted and things like that. And the hobby, you don't get paid for it. It could be very hard work. It could be sometimes very expensive, and sometimes it could be even dangerous. But you never get tired. You do it. You are so enthusiastic to do it that even if you don't have a little bit of time, you go for it, and then they said that you get much more energy and much more rested by doing that. That was very surprising because I thought if you did something very strong thing, it would make you tired and overwhelmed, and but no, the hobby doesn't do that. Some people have climbing snow mountains or rocky mountains, or sometimes very difficult. I know how difficult it is, because this is how I first found out hobby. There were some people who were about to climb the Himalayas. I say, why do you do that? It's not nice. I've been through that, by force. We had to come from Tibet and then had to cross the snow mountains, and very cold, very there's nothing enjoyable in it. Very tiring. He says, oh, it's very nice. It's very nice. It's our hobby. And then slowly I found about the hobby. And, that is what, the right effort is, I think, there, When you're really interested in it and when you are really, involved in it, you really want to do something, nothing can stop you. And, the more you do, the more you want to do it. And, you never kind of get fed up with that. That's that kind of, effort or right effort or enthusiasm you should have. And that is what we call, I think, right effort. And so, it comes from, you kind of, you like it, you want it, you appreciate that thing, you kind of, you see and you feel the benefit or the good side of that, whatever. So therefore, whether it's in any of these Eightfold Path, in wisdom, in training to transform yourself, to help others, to generate kindness, compassion, to work for the benefit of yourself for the long run term and others. So if that happens, then that's the right effort. And if that happens, then you don't have to push yourself, or you don't have to, kind of force anything on yourself. It just happens. So that, and to do that, I think one of the main important is, also the view that how you see these things, how we understand the connection of, the positive, result of doing this and the negative result of not doing or not training in this way. So therefore, right effort is a very important because that's what, because, we can understand a little bit intellectually, and that little understanding or some little intellectual understanding, sometimes it's very good, it's the beginning, but that doesn't necessarily, make us do things or, bring us to actually get fully involved with it. But if that understanding becomes a little bit more stronger, more deeper, more clearer, and then it becomes, part of our life, then that becomes, it automatically becomes our practice. And when that happens, then actually nobody can stop us. And, it's not about, I have to do it for, 30 minutes or 20 minutes or, 1 hour or 2 hours or things like that. It's, it becomes part of your life and part of your way of being. So then, the training becomes not even a training, it becomes a joy, it becomes a part of our life. And so therefore, to try to kind of somehow develop that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of joy and that kind of, right effort. That is the, that's the main thing. that's the right effort. And of course, for that, we need to, the contemplation, contemplation. Sometimes we call it contemplation, or sometimes we call it investigation. Like for the, we usually say three things, important in developing mainly our wisdom, but any of these things. That is first the study or listening, and then the contemplation, and then meditation. And the first study is to listen and to kind of to study and to to listen to people, good people, great people, to read books, to understand, to listen to the teachings and things like that, and to have some understanding, to have some basic understanding. That's the first one. But after that, then what we call contemplation. Now, this contemplation is a word which is, I find it a little bit, what can you say, strange. The Christians and Buddhists, I don't know how it happened in English language, use these words or have used these words in kind of a reverse way. What we usually nowadays, not nowadays, maybe now it's a little bit less, but what we call meditation is what the Christians and nowadays even scientists call it contemplation. And what we call contemplation is, the Christians called it meditation, because when they say meditation, they are thinking about the life of the Jesus Christ and what he did and how he, all these kind of things. But in contemplation, what we usually kind of translate as contemplation is to really question, deeply question each of the things that we understand, or we have a concept, or we have been taught, or we read. Then we look more deeply and really understand whether this is right or not right, or okay or not, and how true it is. Say like impermanence. So kind of deep, generally we all understand, things are impermanent, and maybe nobody would, intellectually contest this, that, things are not impermanent, because we all know and we all can see that things are changing. But really to have the, a deeper feeling or deeper experience or understanding, yes, it's changing and it's impermanent, and I don't really know whether I will be here tomorrow morning or not. Deeply feeling or kind of what can you say, knowing that or having that is not there. We all know that things are, it's impermanent, and one day I will die, and one day things will change, and but we never ever kind of feel that maybe I will not be there tomorrow. even if I'm quite sick today, I won't think like that. So therefore, this impermanence has not really sunk in deeply in ourselves. So therefore, our understanding of it is very intellectual and very shallow. So it's same with all other things, why we should not be so, so much kind of aversion, or, so much, why we should not get, why we should not hold on to our, grudges and negative feelings toward others. Why this, we don't deeply feel this, understand it, and then therefore it becomes very difficult to let go. But if we deeply, deeply understood that holding on to a grudge, holding on to anger and hatred and, all these kind of negative feelings is really very, very harmful to me, and it does no good to anybody. If I really, really feel that, then it would not be a big thing that it doesn't necessarily maybe go away, but I really want to do something about it deeply. So same way is, the more we understand, the way, the more we understand how best, because this is the whole point, it's not about, I'm just following Buddha because, I'm a Buddhist, not like that, but each of these things that we really know and we really convinced and we are really, clearly see how beneficial it would be to work on this and follow that, and how, harmful it will be if we do the other way. And when that happens, that kind of understanding happens, then, this is what, what right effort will naturally kind of happen, I think. So therefore, it's all about this. So we need this, we need to cultivate that, and that, sometimes it needs, we need to question ourselves. We need to, look from every point of view. We need to, also look at the, our own heart and all the, logics and all the things like that, and the teachings of great beings, lives of the great beings, and things like that. Because it's not easy to have that level of deep understanding, is coming from lots of contemplation, looking from every side and every way. And once we have that, then and then you can never go back. That's sometimes from Buddhist point of view, that's called tepa, that's called devotion, that's called faith, because faith is not just like, sometimes in our usual language, when you say devotion or faith, we kind of take it as a kind of a belief system, like I believe it because people say it like that, and some people, my parents believe it, so I believe it. My teacher believe it, so I believe it. But that much of belief or that much of faith is not true true faith or true, so when in Buddhism, when we say that faith is important or devotion is important, we are not talking about that kind of devotion and faith, just being loyal, we're talking about this real understanding, deeper understanding, so that, you can't, there's no other, you are totally, you cannot reverse. That's why, many great masters, like even His Holiness Dalai Lama, when he says, Shini te patopa, he writes this in his, the one who understood and then attained faith. He says that often, and that's not only Dalai Lama. Many people says that. So then, you really not just, have faith because of belief system, but through understanding, and that is what brings this kind of right effort and diligence. Now, when we talk about diligence, then of course we need to talk about laziness, because that's the opposite of, diligence and right effort. I think I talked a lot about this, the laziness, because I am an expert on that. I call myself lazy lama. It's not that I don't do things, Some people say, oh, you are not lazy. You travel a lot. You give lots of, talks and things like that. Yeah, I do those things, and I do other things also. I've done like 3-4 different jobs at a time before. That's not nothing, special. But I'm lazy because I know how important it is to practice Dharma. Yet I don't do it as much as I should be doing. That's why I'm lazy. So this is, maybe I'm not that, I don't have that, the true amount of, or the enough amount of the right effort, I think maybe that's why. But laziness, usually it's taught the 3 kinds of laziness, 3 kinds of laziness. And the first kind of laziness is what we usually call lazy, that, I want to delay it. I don't want to do it now. I want to procrastination, put it to later stage and things like that. I will practice Dharma when I'm retired, and I was retired a long time ago, so I can't say that. When I get older, but now, I'm almost 70, and I can't be delaying too much. Anyway, that's besides the point, because, but that is, that you don't want to do it now. You don't want to, it should be done, but, you kind of put it back, and you don't, because at the moment I better have a, a nap, or, picnic or holiday or whatever. So, or watch a movie, or things like that. Anything like that, that's the first type of laziness. That is, what we usually call laziness, procrastination, delaying, not, just want to do some, something else or nothing. That's the first one. The second kind of laziness is important, because this sometimes we don't know. I think it's not too much talked about also in our usual kind of life or discussions. This is that we are too busy in doing so many things that are not so important or not so necessary, that we have no time to do more important or most important things. We find lots of things which are kind of interesting or, kind of a little bit attractive or a little bit something. And then we do this little bit, this little bit, that little bit, that. And those things take up so much of our time that actually we have no time and no energy to actually, or space, or, to do really things that is the most, important. So for that, of course, for the first kind of laziness, it's also an attitude and understanding, that this I know very well, like if there is something that I know is really important and good and necessary to do, and then I say, oh, at the moment I'm not in a kind of a mood to do it. I'll do it tomorrow or day after tomorrow or something like that. And then meanwhile, I'll enjoy my time. But actually, I don't enjoy my time because I'm thinking, maybe I should be doing something more important, things like that. So I'm not really enjoying. And then next morning, it's even worse because now I have lots of things to do, which I should have done yesterday. So I'm more unhappy. And then I have to go through it, and then I'm overwhelmed because I have left so much things undone that, it's really overwhelming. So it didn't actually give me any happiness or joy today, nor tomorrow, and neither, never. It's totally useless. But instead, if I did it today, in the beginning, I would feel, oh, I don't really want to do that. I should be watching a movie or, doing something else. But when I really start to do this, while even doing it, I feel good because, I feel I'm doing something that I should be doing. It's good that I'm doing it. At last I'm doing something that, is necessary to be done. I feel good. And while, after I finish it, then I feel even better. This time I've done things on time and things like that. And tomorrow I feel much better because, yesterday I did all the things that, today I'm kind of much more free and I'm not overwhelmed. And so therefore it's actually it gives, even if, from a very, simple kind of mundane way, it's much more, it gives me much more satisfaction and much more joy in doing and not, not delaying or not whatever you call it, and, things like that. Now for the second one also, it's like that, if we have too many things, and then, so we need to really understand, and we need to really prioritize what are the most important things. Because if we really can rightly prioritize things, then it's not that we will never be able to do anything that we enjoy doing them. We could do that also. We will always have time to do that. But if we did all the things that are not that important first, then we might not have time to do the real important things, because that's the So therefore, this is all about deeply understanding the priorities. And sometimes like as we discussed maybe already, most of these things that we talk about in this Eightfold Path, it's not something that is too much time consuming. It's not about time consuming. Right view is nothing to do with time. Right thought, right speech, right action. None of this is about time. It's about understanding. It's about a little bit of, decision making, and, you can call it discipline if you like, things like that. So therefore, it's just our, starting and, deciding. Mainly, it's about deciding, and things like that. So therefore, it becomes, it doesn't prevent us from doing anything that we, like to do or things like that. That's important. Then the third laziness is actually the worst. That is that I decide that I cannot do it. No? Oh, it's not possible for me to do it. I cannot, I can never become enlightened. I can never become a bodhisattva. I cannot, really practice Dharma in a true sense. I cannot, or, whatever. I cannot really practice the Eightfold Path. Or any, I cannot transform myself. If we decide like that, or if we think like that, then of course we cannot do it, because we already gave up right from the beginning. And when we don't try, we don't even know that we can do it or not. We have already, totally, what can you say, rejected or decided I cannot do it, then I cannot do. Then I will never be able to do it, because I will never start. I will never make any efforts. So this, kind of looking down on our ability, kind of, what can you say, belittling your own possibilities, or, you kind of look down on yourself, and then you kind of decide that you have no capacity or ability or things like that. That from Buddhist point of view is regarded as a laziness, and the worst kind of laziness, because then there is no chance. You decided that I cannot do it, means then you will never do it, because you don't even know. Because now this is very important, because that's why we always talk about Buddha nature and things like that. But everything is about training. So this, I may not have the most kind of best talents or best, whatever you call it, inborn, abilities and things like that. But we can learn and we can train and we can, if we try, we can become better and better at anything. And then from Buddhist point of view, we need to develop this because, we are not going to finish at the time of death. If you believe that, after I die, then nothing, finished. Then, of course, there's no, maybe you cannot. But from Buddhist point of view, this life is just one life, and then another life, and another life, and another life. And if you don't do anything, it will be the same, for next 1,000, million lives. And it's not possible. Why not? It's better to start somewhere and work on it and become better. And if, everything stops at the time of your death, then why not do something? Try. What what's wrong to try to do something good this life? It's a short life, because if you don't do, then nothing will happen anyway. And if you do, maybe something good will happen. So so therefore this, these three, what is called lazinesses, to understand again these three lazinesses, and then a little bit, try to recognize them when they are happening, and would, I think, a little bit help to bring more right efforts. So that's the, I think that's more or less about right efforts. I think maybe I've forgotten some things important, but if I remember tonight, I will talk about it tomorrow. Otherwise, it's that. So I think I'll stop here, and then if you have questions, you are most welcome. Yes, Annie?
Hello, Rinpoche. Thank you very, very much for all your teachings, and especially over the last 2 years, which have kept us going. So thank you. Some things just tweaked in my brain. We studying Bodhicharya Berlin with the Irish group, and we've just done the 7th chapter on diligence. That's the same as right effort. Am I right?
Exactly.
And I never put the two together.
Yeah, that's right efforts.
So thank you. It suddenly just clicked for me.
Yes.
And a safe trip back to India when you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Goodbye. Andy?
It's about a question about contemplation. You say it's to question something and find an answer, or find that you know. Not find an answer, but find that you know. It's like looking for a conclusion and finding an answer a hindrance to that. Like it just becomes like, oh, I know this now, and then that's done with. Like I don't have to go any deeper because I've conceptually like answered it. So it's like you're not even looking for a conclusion and answer. The best way to approach
it. Contemplation from if you use this word contemplation from like Samba, the Tibetan, the Buddhist second type, then it is it's kind of finding an answer, but kind of reflecting on it, reflecting on it. Even if it's not just like, there's this, I understand what your question is. The first thing that you have an answer, yes, what is this right? And this is right. And that's the first one, that, the study. After that, then you kind of, you think about it. You contemplate, means again and again, look at it, and look at it from different angles, look at it from your own experience, others' experience, not just kind of a intellectual question, but more kind of a experiential thing. And, like, say like, just get one example, something like precious human life, for instance. So if you, precious human life, when you say this, then, it's kind of a question, how precious is our human life? Of course, there's many questions about that, and but when you deeply understand, it's not about how comparatively precious than other life forms and things like that. There could be other life forms which are much more, much more fortunate, or much more positive things, or much more power, or whatever. But for ourselves, if we don't appreciate what we have, then it's it's bringing much more problem for ourselves, and much more unhappiness, and much more shortage in ourselves. So therefore, when we understand this, then whenever we encounter something, we reflect on it. We say, okay, this is very, very difficult. This is a deep problem, but actually, what things I have, what good things I have, I count, and then I know that there are lots of good things in it, and then I can bring back my appreciation of that. So this is a practice. It's not just a kind of a one-time question and answer, but repeatedly and again and again, and when you go through different situations and different problems, or different, then you kind of you ask this question, or you remind yourself of these things again and again. And when you do that, then that that experience of feeling of the preciousness of our life becomes more and more, what can you say, stronger. And then slowly, then even if you don't, you don't have to too much make an effort, but feel those kind of this feeling, or this way of saying things becomes much more clearly and automatically comes. That's the reflection, or that's the contemplation. No, contemplation is to think about something, or to recall some experience or understanding again and again and again. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Who is next? Pema?
You did raise your hand. Galaxy adds.
Oh, Galaxy. Oh, your name is Galaxy? Hello.
Oui, bonjour.
Hello. Yes, I can hear.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Je voudrais vous demander, que conseillez-vous, Rinpoche, lorsque la méditation est bloquée et pas assez d'énergie pour mener à bien l'attention, pour travailler sur notre esprit et ainsi...
Anybody is translating? French? Anybody who knows French? Here? Who knows French here?
Francois, can you change your channel to English?
I think it will be difficult, no? You cannot get out.
Can I help you?
Yes, yes, I can hear you, but I'm trying to find a French translator for you.
Hello, I can translate maybe if she speaks slowly.
Okay.
Okay. So
Who are you? Where are you?
It is Miriam. It's Miriam.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, Saskia also was there.
Unless someone is better than me, then that's fine.
Okay, you can do it. You can try.
Okay. And so I heard in just the beginning, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. She was saying, what please is your advice for when meditation is blocked? Puis, si vous pouvez encore répéter ce que vous avez dit.
Say it, say it.
Can you ask what her name is?
What is her comment vous appelez-vous, s'il vous plaît?
Ariodil.
Ariodil.
Okay. So say ask your question.
Est-ce que vous pouvez demander encore une fois, dire encore une fois ce que vous avez dit?
C'est à mon tour? Oui.
Encore une fois,
oui,
la question.
Rinpoche.
Yes.
Rinpoche,
okay.
Est-ce que vous...
Yes.
Si vous pouvez lentement, je peux traduire pour vous en anglais.
Oui, s'il vous plaît, Rinpoche, que me conseillez-vous lorsque dans la méditation on est bloqué, pas assez d'énergie et pour mener à bien l'attention pour travailler sur notre esprit et pour travailler sur notre esprit? Est-ce qu'on peut faire une pause? Est-ce qu'on peut passer quelques jours sans trop se focaliser sur l'effort?
Sur les fleurs. Focaliser sur quoi?
Les fleurs.
So what I got so far, she is asking, Rinpoche, what is your advice when meditation is blocked and there is no energy, and could one kind of take a break?
Yes. Yes.
Oui.
But
oui,
actually, I think it's we need to understand that meditation is not too much of trying to do something, but just relax and letting things be, you know. So yes, relax, just relax, and you know, don't do any meditation, but relax and sit quietly for some time, and do that every day, and then it will come back. You have to unmute, Miriam.
Ok. Rinpoche a dit que oui, on peut poser. Et le principe en la méditation, c'est pas de forcer et faire des choses, mais de relâcher complètement. Et que vous pouvez chaque jour vous asseoir et pendant un petit temps de relâcher. Est-ce que vous avez compris?
Merci Rinpoche là.
Okay. Merci beaucoup. And then, Pema.
Hi, Rinpoche.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for the teachings. They've been wonderful. And I have a quick question about meditation too.
Okay.
In the, you mentioned 3. You said listening and study, contemplation. So that kind of process of really deeply looking, questioning, really understanding how it relates to me. Is this the truth for me? So it becomes kind of unshakable faith. And I wanted to talk about the meditation part, because I'm beginning to think about meditation slightly differently during these teachings. And there's some sense of repetition coming up. Is that correct understanding? Of some, I can't remember, it was a couple of days ago, you gave a feel of, meditation isn't just sitting, watching my breath. It's not about just, especially in this context where you have something that you are really trying to integrate into your life. Where does meditation come into that, on that 3rd step?
Now, meditation can be of different kinds, many different kind of parts or stages or things like that. First, I think we need to learn to relax, and that's the first part that we kind of, for instance, one very important example is that we just we breathe in and breathe out, and just feel that. We can sometimes even count them, but just just feeling that we are breathing in and breathing out, and that means we are just present or just aware of now, and we are not engaging in trying to do anything. We are not thinking about the past, not involving in the future, and just being. And that actually help us to relax and be here at this moment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is important part of the meditation, because you just learn to learn not in intellectual way, but in an actual practical way. But then the real I don't think you should say real. This is also real meditation in a way. But the meditation has another meaning, and that is like, the Tibetan word for meditation is gom. The gom is coming from gom. Gom means, maybe you don't even hear the difference between these two, but getting acquainted with, say like you have kind of experienced, or you have, whether it is, peace of mind, whether it's, relaxation, whether it's some kind of deeper understanding, you have some understanding or experience of that, and then use that experience, or bring that experience again and again, and so that you become acquainted with it, you become one with it, that's meditation also. Like, for instance, we just talked about, whether it's simple, like, precious human life, or impermanence, or just, relaxing in the present moment, or something like that. So you kind of allow yourself to do it, whenever your mind is with lots of, different kind of thoughts or emotions or disturbances and things like that, you just allow your mind to be in that, what you have learned, to be relaxed and let things be. You allow yourself to be in a kind of a natural state, so that you allowed other things to go. You're not holding on to things, and that is also meditation, because then you've learned how to, like, we all want to have peace of mind. We all want to be undisturbed state of mind. We want a very kind of a deep kind of undisturbed, joyful, peaceful, state of being. But all kind of thoughts and emotions and situations and things like that comes, and then you feel, oh, I need a little bit, of that. So you go into your meditation, and then it happens, and so that actually, if you want, you can go into that mode whenever you want. And once you have that kind of experience, understanding, then the disturbances become less important, or less, unsurmountable, because that anytime there's lots of these problems, you can just relax, and you can be more peaceful and joyful for some time, and then you come out, and then you deal with those things, and then and all these things are temporary anyway, so it will change, but that doesn't mean that things will not come back. But so therefore, so this meditation is that, it's a is based on this, what we call contemplation, but it's using those things again and again, so that you can, whether it's a state of mind, whether it's a kind of a view, experience, understanding, whatever, you just allow it to happen, and again and again.
It feels like a state of trust. That's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah, you can call it trust, but you can call it, actually, it's not just a trust. It's just knowing how to do it. When you say trust, it's like, sometimes trust means like, I trust, so I trust, so that I more or less hope that it will happen because I trust that. It's not like that. Here it is an experience. No, I don't have to trust. I have full confidence. Trust and confidence are slightly different. No, trust is more like I have some kind of a I have trust, but the confidence is that I know it's. I know how to do it. So it's you don't even have to trust. You just have to do it.
It's already done.
Yeah. So you know how to do it. So therefore, it's meditation is a little bit like that. Of course, we have to develop that. We have to kind of train in that, and but that is, I think.
Yeah, and can I just quickly say thank you for doing what you did for my father?
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's all.
There's the Bernard.
Oh, Bernard, yes. How, Bernard? How are you?
Hello, Rinpoche. Oh, it could be better a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm happy to listen to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to go back to a sentence you said, I think it was yesterday. We are all carrying our world with us.
Yes.
That was I think the fairy tale about the shepherd.
Yes.
The fable. My question is, how can there be a deal with those other lonely people carrying their worlds? There must be a kind of agreement, temporary agreement to share things. How can I share knowledge when I know the other is in his own world's little small world, bottle world, and everybody is in his world?
Yeah.
And what does enlightenment mean in this context?
Yeah, I think we can always share. We can always explain, and we can sometimes also give some help. But it finally depends on that person, how they understand. You can say something, you can explain your way of saying and your way of understanding and your kind of experience. But how that other person understands, and you never know,
Yes.
Maybe sometimes they understand really well, and you can really completely change a person's perspective. That's also happens, yeah, happens very often, but it's not always easy because everybody has very strong kind of way of looking at things, and very strong ways of saying things, and so that's so it's very, very difficult to convince somebody unless they actually want to, and they have a kind of sometimes due to some reason or another, they get something, then the right kind of right circumstances. We call it tendel, then things can happen, but otherwise difficult. Sometimes even the Buddha comes and Buddha gives the same teaching, but some people get it, some people become arhat, bodhisattva, some people some little good, and some people nothing too much, and some people even become angry about it. So this is something we cannot, it depends on different circumstances. So I think what we can do is to try to explain, try to understand, tries to give them some kind of, I think one of the things, that's why they always talk about, giving some kind of a kindness, People always appreciate kindness.
Yes.
And when they feel kindness from the other person, that makes them open more, so therefore somebody who is kind and kind of compassionate says something, or you are much more much more open to receive that, so it's that's why somebody with really good intention sometimes opens things much more. Yeah.
Can you say that a Buddha makes all the boundaries transparent, that he goes through walls?
Yeah, but that also depends on the, sometimes people are so closed that even Buddha cannot do much.
On his side, he tries it anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rinpoche, I would have a question still, if I may.
Okay.
That's what you were talking about today. It's very important. It came to me like there's this expression in English.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Buddhism and in the West. It is that we are still looking for right expressions to express these ideas in Tibetan.
Yes, exactly.
And so in English we would say we let things sink in.
Yeah.
And that would sort of explain exactly what you meant by contemplation and meditation at the same time. You just let the idea of right thought, right understanding just sink in. You think about this from different perspectives. You sort of
yes,
ponder about this.
Yes.
And it sinks in and it becomes your idea. It becomes your sort of
your view.
This becomes your view, and then there's no trust anymore. You know it.
Yes, exactly.
We let things sink in. But that was just what I found by this evening, what you were talking about. But my question would be, you said that we really are lazy sometimes because we like to do the small things that are more interesting than these important things. And I think it is because we are getting very quick from the small things that we find so interesting. We get very quick this feeling of success, of appreciation, of getting that's what we wanted quickly.
Yes.
And in Buddhism, like if you don't sit a long time and just strive to do meditation, and this takes forever, especially if you don't believe in yourself, then it is at some point starting to be like, oh, I cannot do it, like I'm not capable, or whatever. This idea is coming to our head. So my question would be, how can we evaluate our practice?
Yes. Yes, this is important. This is true. This is true. But there is also there are some things you can say that needs much more practice and much more kind of long-term practice and meditation and things like that. But there are lots of things which actually you can have the result right now, if you knew how to look at that, I think. So that is sometimes a problem to, sometimes then, because we don't understand how to look at those things and how to see these things and how to, so then we make everything like very distant and very, long-term thing only after many, years. And but there are lots of things which actually can make an effect just very, very, very quickly if you really understood. And so those things, maybe we could do it first, and some of the things that we were discussing now is, I think, something that can be, like how we see things and how, how I act and how, even like this kind of how to make the right efforts. These are not something that, that needs too much long time to have some kind of effect. Of course, it can deeper and deeper and more stronger effect when we are become better in it. But even very temporarily, you can have some effect. And even like, for instance, if you if your mind is really like disturbed and things like that, and if you really can at that moment just focus on nothing but just on your breathing and remain there for a few minutes, you can change your experience.
Awesome.
All your kind of what can you say, panicky state of your mind will come down. And so this is very, it doesn't need even days and days, just, but you have to do it. And, and many people think that, oh, I can't do it because, I can't meditate because I'm in a kind of this not so good state of your mind. But when you are not good state of mind, that's when you need most. Yeah.
True.
And so if you really did it, I think you can have the result just then and there, actually, not that all your problems are finished and you will have no problem like that, but, a little bit. And so, in that way, I think you get, because if you learned that you can be okay a little bit, in few minutes for, or few, just a minute, your mind is kind of a little bit calmed down. Then that this can be extended, so therefore it's not something that, and for this we have to know that, it's not like, sometimes people think that, my mind is a long time thing, big thing. My emotions are a long term thing, big thing. And so it's, something that affects me for a few seconds or few minutes is nothing. I have to make whole my, for all the time different. Of course, that cannot happen just like this. But if you can find a little bit, peaceful state of your mind for, half a minute. That means you can do it 1 minute. That means you can do it 5 minutes. That means you can do it 10 minutes. And then, of course, that needs to be done, but it's like that. So if you experience a little bit of kind of relaxed and a peaceful state for even, half a minute, you get that much, some kind of a confidence that it is possible. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's, I think, how we have to understand and work. No.
Yes, I think in the West,
transform our way of being and reacting, and whole thing. And that is the different. That for that, it takes, of course, to completely change things is another matter.
Yeah. So like in the West, I think we try, like when we get into Buddhism, we try to get results from practices like Chandresik, Tara, Chö, or whatever. And then we are dissatisfied when we don't see those. But in fact,
that's also, those are very good practices, but you really need to tap in the essence of that. Yeah. Otherwise, it becomes just a kind of a ritual, and then it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you very much. There's still Marlene. She wanted to ask a question.
Hello, Marlene.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is, how can we know if we push ourselves too much, or if it is a hindrance into which we have to put more energy?
I think we need to the middle path. It's always the middle path. Yes. If we have to relax, because without relaxing, nothing changes. Sometimes even stopping doing something is regarded as a part of generating diligence. In the Bodhicharya Avatara, it is said that if you are exhausted or tired of something, then you should stop and rest with the intention that I will rest, and when I recover from it, then I will do it more. And that makes that resting part of the diligence. So, resting is okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So,
thank you very much, Rinpoche. So what you said, I just add one word, you're a very diligent practitioner.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night, Rinpoche.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very much.
Good night, Rinpoche.
Very
Gracias,
thank you.
Rinpoche.
Merci.
Bye, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Buenas noches.
Bye. Rinpoche.
Hello. Guten Appetit.
Merci.
Schlaf gut.